Perfect timing. Thank you for joining us once again for the third race of the weekend in the F4 Middle East Championship here at the Marina circuit. Now, we're getting into the crunch time of the championship. It's really important from here on in that Kia Nakamura-Berta and Alex Powell make up as many points as they possibly can, as the championship leader Emanuele Olivieri had no points in the previous race. But unfortunately, Nakamura-Berta couldn't take advantage of it, while Alex Powell picked up a podium. So it's going to be a tricky one in the title fight. We've got 4 races left in the season, and now Alex Powell is on pole position. So for Emanuele Olivieri, it's time to not lose his cool. For Kia Nakamura-Berta, it's attack all the way. Now, in the build-up to this last 4 races of the season, we thought here at Marina, we'd give you something a little bit unique heading into this last race of the season. So have you ever wanted to know what it's like being in a team garage during an official practice session? Well, my friends, you're about to find out. So we thought for this 4th round of the championship, we'd give you guys something a bit special. We've been invited by the RHGP team to join them through the process of an official practice session. So you're going to get to see how the F4 Middle East Championship drivers at RHGP, Emanuele Olivieri, Alex Powell, Emily Cotti and Alexander Savinkov, go through the process of setting up for a race weekend. Let's go take a look. So the first key objectives before the cars have to go out onto the circuit is to make sure that the tyre pressures are correct. The cars have all had a little bit of a dial in on the engine to get them warmed up. Now the drivers need to get their final instructions before they head out onto the circuit. One of the first things that a team does during the practice session is they go around the circuit to dial the car in on a reconnaissance lap, very similar to a formation lap at the start of a race. Then they'll come back into the pit lane and they will do a practice start. It's the only time really in the whole weekend that they'll get the chance to perfect the art of the launch. So from the time the pit lane light goes green to the checkered flag falling, every conversation that the engineer has with their driver is critical. They have to make sure that they are advising the driver, motivating them, keeping them on the straight and narrow, helping them when things are going awry, and obviously helping them to improve. But you have to time when you're having that conversation as well. Better to do it on the long, fast straights than it is in the tight, twisty apexes. The driver's focus has to remain 100%. So measuring every sector time of every lap is critical. The software that these guys are working with on their computers can actually calculate how far the tyre should go over the course of a stint. That means that when they calculate the distance length of the tyre compared to the track temperature, they'll be able to figure out how best to set the car up and how exactly the tyre can manage in these conditions. But it's all a bit of a guessing game, and it all depends on the drivers getting the most they can out of the tyre for that part of the session. And if you think that kind of precision is reserved only for the racetrack, then you'd be wrong. Every single second of a race weekend is micromanaged in each team so that every part of every team knows exactly what they need to be focusing on, from the drivers to the engineers to the mechanics to every single driver coach. A split-second accuracy of the timetable is valuable and absolutely essential to make sure that a team is on the winning streak. Very important. There we go, right on schedule. And it looks like the RHGP team are not the only squad that have decided that this is the right strategy for practice. A lot of teams seem to be doing the same thing, all critical to try and see what kind of life these tyres will give. Now the car is in the capable hands of the mechanics. It's all down to them as to what happens next. Once the car is in pit lane, they'll check everything. Engine temperature, water temperature, tyre pressures, and of course tyre degradation. They'll get feedback from the driver as well. And of course it's important to note that on worn tyres, the lap time differentiation can be anywhere up to 3 seconds. That's 0.2 of a second per corner. Alex, what sort of feedback can you give me from the session?
Yeah, it's tricky. Obviously track conditions are changing quite a bit, seeing as though the other ALMS cars are driving, so it's definitely tricky for the team to adjust the car setup as what would be best. But yeah, I mean, Ben, it was a long run, so a bit difficult with tyre management, but it's okay, it's the same for everyone. So yeah, we know what we need to work on.
All the drivers have really had time for at this point is a quick drink and a quick conversation with the engineer. Then it's back on with the job. There's only about 17 minutes left. You can still learn an awful lot about the same set of tyres with 15 minutes left on the track. Every single lap is critical to understanding how to get the best out of the car. Well, as is often the way in practice, the session has been red flagged with 4 minutes to go. That means we're not going to restart. So that pretty much curtails the end of another practice session. So it's back to the office for the drivers to all study the data and figure out what happens next. Unfortunately for us, that's a secret we're not allowed to see. So that's it. A massive thank you to RHGP for allowing us to go behind the scenes of a typical practice session. All that remains for us is to say merci beaucoup et bonne chance pour le week-end.
So hopefully folks now you know a little bit more about what goes on during the build-up to the races. Thank you so much to the RHGP team for allowing us to do that. Never easy when the commentators dusting the microphone in and around the paddock, but they've been fantastic at getting us a little bit closer. Hope you all enjoyed that as well. So this is going to be an interesting final race of the weekend for the F4 Middle East Championship. This will be a really entertaining battle, as now Alex Powell goes from the front of the starting grid for this one. Pole position for him. Let's see if he can convert this into a race victory, and he certainly needs one at this point in the season. The battle is going to be very intense ahead of race 3 on the Marina circuit, with only 3 races this weekend, of course, in the F4 Middle East Championship, but the battle is going to be so intense. The sun is really hot at this point of the day. It could well become the new hottest race of the weekend. Certainly yesterday was pretty intense at the midday point, but it's certainly feeling much hotter, not just trackside, but also in general around the course. There is Alex Powell getting himself ready from pole position, hoping for 30 points at the end of this race for the victory. And there is the man who wants to take one victory away from him, Tomas Stolchamanis, the Latvian. Second on the starting grid for him. So good to see the drivers not in first and second in the championship fight in the front row positions for a change. There is Emanuele Olivieri. He starts third after a reasonably good qualifying performance yesterday, but certainly not giant killing as we have seen from him in the past. Fourth on the grid, Kia Nakamura-Berta. Bring on the battle. Bring on the noise. So now we go around on the formation lap. It's going to be an interesting race there as we battle for the victory. Alex Powell going for a win. So too Thomas Stolchemanis, with Olivieri and Nakamura Berta on the second row of the starting grid. The gap between them in the points tally is 45 points at this phase of the season. So let's see what we can get from a title fight as these drivers battle for supremacy. Could be really interesting to see what will happen between them. So let's see if we are going to have a victor on the front row of the grid, on the second row of the grid, or somewhere completely different. Time to talk you through the starting positions then for this third and final race of the weekend. Alex Powell, pole position. Thomas Stolchemanis alongside him in second. Championship leader, Emanuele Olivieri. Championship contender, Kia Nakamura Berta. That's your top four, and that's going to be exciting stuff. Salim Hanna, fifth on the grid from Martin Molnar, the Hungarian on P6. David Cosmo goes off P7 with Renaud Franco, our race 2 winner, lining up on the fourth row of the starting grid. Ninth on the grid for Bader Al-Sulaiti, his best starting position of the year, alongside the Bison, Alexander Bondarev in P10. Adam Al-Azari goes off 11th, with Tiago Rodriguez, the Macanese driver, in 12th on the starting grid. 13th position, and on the 7th row, it is Sebastian Weldon who's getting the 13th point, then Alexander Savinkov alongside him. Chi-Jen Roy, Newman Chi, 15th on the grid, alongside Cole Hewitson, the South African, in the XL Motorsport car. 17th on the starting grid for the talented Fuyu Hao, alongside Abdullah Ayman Kamel for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Britain's Emily Cotti lines up alongside India's Arjun Jaheda for the Mumbai Falcons team. A real struggle this weekend for him here in Yas Marina. 21st on the starting grid, the talented August Raber really struggled in Q2. Taha Hasiba lines up 22nd. Seth Gilmore looking good in 23rd, alongside Wang Ujie, still going very fast despite his accident in Dubai. Then finally we have Yuta Suzuka, the youngest man in the field, Tamim Hasiba, and Farah Al-Youssef at the tail end. So our contenders once again going to battle in the hope that we are going to have a really exciting run. Alex Powell, pole position for the Jamaican sensation, carries the United States as his license, but of course has family back home in Jamaica. He's known all over the Caribbean, of course. He has fans not just in Jamaica, but also in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course lives these days in Miami, in Florida. Now a Formula One venue, of course. So plenty of momentum around this young man who is part of the Mercedes Young Driver program. Also in point, it could be interesting to see if Thomas Stolchemanis can carry on his charge. He's had a lot of bad luck this weekend. There's no two ways about that. But Stolchemanis, second on the grid, this is his best chance to come up with a second victory of the season for the Mumbai Falcons team. But the championship contenders are in second and third. There are 120 points still available for race victories, with 4 bonus points in Qatar for the 2 pole positions in qualifying. That's a grand total of 124 points in the championship still available. Olivieri is 45 ahead of Nakamura Berta. It'll be fascinating to see if it'll be a tricky battle for him. Can Olivieri extend the gap, or will Nakamura Berta close it up? Let's find out. Can Powell take the lead? Let's race for the last time at Yas Marina. And it's a tricky start for Powell. Stolchemanis is going to draw level with him. One of the Premas is in the pit lane ready to take the start, but Stolchemanis is going to get the jump on the 2 RHGP cars. Olivieri swarming around behind his teammate, but can Alex Powell get back in front around the outside? Thomas Stolchemanis is not going to leave him a lot of room, but they are still side by side. Powell is going to try and keep his nose in front in the W Hotel complex. Can Alex Powell get there first? He does! Fighting tact from Alex Powell. Brilliant stuff. The Jamaican sensation stays in front after all. Magnificent racecraft as Alex Powell keeps his elbows firmly wedged out, and there's nothing Thomas Stolchemanis can do. So Powell leads the way. Stolchemanis second. Third is Olivieri. Fourth is Nakamura Berta. Then it's Salim Hanna in front of Martin Molnar as the rest of the field works its way through. So it was Chi-Jen Roy who started from the pits. Everybody else in no problem at all. But poor Chi-Jen Roy, there he is at the very back of the field. He now has to start the race from the pit lane as Bader Al-Sulaiti gets the move there on Sebastian Weldon. Good racecraft from those two at the moment. But at the top of the crest and then dropping down to the hairpin, Alex Powell leads Thomas Stolchemanis, and that was so important for the American to stay in front of the Latvian. Looking down to the hairpin, Alexander Bondarev having a little cheeky look at Salim Hanna, hoping to try and take a rookie victory off him this time. So as they go off the hairpin, Alex Powell swarming around, trying to shake Thomas Stolchemanis off him, and there is a great battle down the back straight. Looks as though a very fiery Martin Molnar trying to take on Alexander Bondarev on the way down to the braking zone for the chicane. And there is a drive-through penalty for Tamim Hasiba already for crossing the pit lane exit demarcation line. So that's unfortunate for Tamim Hasiba. He must have done that on the original start, as Alexander Bondarev gets a run on Salim Hanna. He was so busy defending from Martin Molnar, he didn't realise Salim Hanna in front had got a little bit of a problem, and so Alexander Bondarev may get a shot here. Watch for Adam Al-Azadi. He's all over the back of Martin Molnar as Bondarev tries to go right round the outside of them. Molnar is looking pretty hungry. Bondarev slots in behind Salim Hanna, and that's Renaud Franco trying to get into the mix there as well, in behind Adam Al-Azadi. So 5 drivers mixing it up for P5. Hanna, Bondarev, Molnar, Al-Azadi, Franco. Watch out for Sebastian Weldon now that he's through into 10th position in front of Bader Al-Sulaiti. There could be an interesting charge for him. Oh, well, no, he's not, because it looks to me like there's a bigger challenge going on further back. Oh, no, Franco has lost a little bit of momentum. But Sebastian Weldon seems to have picked up some positions there. I wonder if that's the other of the slight issue with the car being out of position there. One of the Axel GP cars, I think, having a bit of an issue there in front of Sebastian Weldon. Weldon was able to get through, so that's the second of the Axel GP cars. That's the 13, I believe. So that is David Cosma. So Cosma does not appear to be transponding because he's in position, but I don't really see him in the lineup. So David Cosma appears to have a transponder issue. That's where the confusion is rising. That issue there already. Already there are drivers who are getting track limits warnings, and this is only the second lap. So a warning for Renaud Franco, another warning for Adam Al-Azadi. And so car 18 has a drive-through penalty for crossing the pit exit demarcation line twice, apparently. So Tamim Hasiba has definitely run the gauntlet on these regulations. Hasn't worked out for him. So this will be a tricky situation for the contenders down the straight. That's the XL Motorsport teammates, Vuyuhao and Abdullah Ayman Kamel going at it down to the braking zone. Can Abdullah Kamel go round the outside? No, he's not been able to get the overtaking move there. Oh, that is Cole Hewitson, my apologies, on his teammate Vuyuhao. Alexander Savinkov having already lost ground to them as wheel to wheel down to the first corner. That is Olivieri trying to go round the outside of Thomas Stolgimanis as into the pits to serve the pit lane penalty goes Tamim Hasiba, and Wang Ujie is serving a penalty as well. Wang Ujie is coming in with damage, my apologies. He's got a broken front wing. So Olivieri trying to take on Thomas Stolgimanis, trying to get into second position, and he needs to because Kia Nakamura Berta is all over the back of him. There in the pit lane is Wang Ujie. Problems on the front wing of that car, so they're having to change the front nose cone section. Big trouble at Pinnacle. Alex Powell, though, meanwhile, is just taking it nicely in his stride at the moment. 0.8 of a second in front of Thomas Stolgimanis, and that's Adam Al-Azadi. He gets the run on Martin Molnar. That puts him into P7. Some good overtaking move from the young boy from Dubai. So Powell, Stolgimanis, Olivieri, Nakamura Berta. Still wheel to wheel. Adam Al-Azadi and Martin Molnar, but Molnar not quite able to get the move, although Al-Azadi runs wide at turn 1. Holds the car back onto the apex though. So that'll work very nicely. So let's see how it all continues. They come off the crest and down the drop once again. You can see some really interesting duels up the inside. That could be Renaud Franco making a late lunge on the inside of Martin Molnar. They're going to tighten together off the turn, and Molnar has to go onto the curbs to avoid impact. But he keeps one wheel in front. Renaud Franco now has the inside line for the next corner. So Renaud Franco may have just set him up for the overtake here. Martin Molnar trying to squeeze him down. And watch for Sebastian Weldon in the background in the yellow, white and black car in the Gainbridge Andretti colours. Franco finishing off the move here on Martin Molnar. So the Dutchman is happy, the Hungarian is not. And now Sebastian Weldon might get a chance of a move. So far so good for Alex Powell, but look at Olivieri. He has picked up the pace and now he's going to take on Thomas Stolgimanis. Stolgimanis is going to send him round the far side. Can the Italian get there? Well, it's pretty greasy offline. He's not quite able to carry the speed. He did everything he could to make it happen. Stolgimanis now chops across to get the car back in the middle of the road to thwart Olivieri's onslaught. Olivieri's got to be careful he doesn't kill the tyres here trying to get in front of Stolgimanis, because then he'll be a sitting duck for Nakamura Berta later in the race. So in this situation, Kia Nakamura Berta actually has the advantage here because he's got no pressure on him being sat right behind Olivieri. He can let Olivieri do all the hard work to get past Stolgimanis, and Alex Powell is looking good for 30 points, which will definitely tighten up things in the battle for the title race. So if Alex Powell takes the win, he'll be up to 207 points. If Ian Nakamura-Berta takes 4th, he'll be up to 211 points. And if Olivieri stays in 3rd, he'll be on 267. So it's still a long way from taking down the points gaggle, but Alex Powell will be the one doing the chasing rather than Nakamura-Berta. So Olivieri doing everything he can to stay in front of Nakamura-Berta by taking on Thomas Stolgimanis. Here comes the chance. Stolgimanis saw it happening, moved the car back across the middle of the road. No cheap overtakes on the Latvian today. Here we go again. Down the back straight. On the run to that chicane, and Stolgimanis is going to have to really work to shake off Emanuele Olivieri. Here goes Olivieri to the right side. Now it's going to be a drag race to the braking zone. Olivieri trying to move across on Stolgimanis and beat him to the braking zone. Stolgimanis will go late on the brakes. They both lock up and Stolgimanis moves across on Olivieri. Olivieri skips the chicane, but Olivieri's got to give that back. Now this is perfect for Kia Nakamura-Berta. Nakamura-Berta can get a chance on him. So Olivieri has got to move aside and let Stolgimanis go, which he does. But he's now got to get right across to make sure that Nakamura-Berta doesn't get through. He locks up the tyres and they both drift wide. So Nakamura-Berta under big pressure here to get the move on Emanuele Olivieri, who was in 2nd briefly. Nakamura-Berta, by the way, set the fastest lap of the race on that lap, 1:56.842 for him. The next quickest driver was Salim Hanna, then Alex Powell, then Alexander Bondarev, interestingly enough. Slightly fractionally slower actually than Emanuele Olivieri, so I'll correct myself straight away. Safety car, safety car. Safety car's been called. So there's a yellow flag at 16 and there's a yellow flag at 6. So we've got the final corner of the Formula 1 circuit. Oh yes, look, that's one of the Qatari cars with a broken right suspension. So that is Tamim Hasiba, I'm afraid. And it looks as though the other car is stranded at the chicane coming onto the main straight of our particular pit lane rather than the Formula 1. So it's on both of the last corners actually. The last corner leading to Formula 1 was pit straight, and also our last corner on the chicane, and that looks to be Seth Gilmore, the Australian. So I'm afraid Snappy Gilmore has not made it to the end of this race by the look of it. So the officials are going down to try and clear both cars. Interestingly enough, based on the geography of the circuit, they're actually relatively near each other. There's only an escape roads difference between turn 6 and turn 16 in terms of the map of the circuit itself. So there really isn't much to choose between those 2 points of the circuit. So I'd like to think that this is going to be a relatively quick clean-up job. Incident involving cars 52 and 29, that's Cole Hewitson and Alexander Savinkov under investigation. Turn 11 contact between 47 and 42 under investigation, that is August Raber and Emily Cotti, so that's under investigation. There's also an investigation for an incident with Emily Cotti and Taha Hasiba. So lots going on for the officials to try and straighten out. So for the last time at Yas Marina, we're under safety car conditions in race 3. I hope it's the last time anyway. You can get your comments and your questions in. I'll do my best to answer them while we're sat behind safety car waiting for the fantastic officials here to get things swept away. More than welcome to ask any questions or make any points that you'd like to about the race so far. It's very much a stalemate in the top 4 at the moment though, isn't it? Powell, Stolgimanis, Olivieri and Nakamura-Berta. Arguably the top 4 drivers in this year's championship, and certainly the ones that are giving the biggest pressure cooker for this race. And then safety car, that gorgeous Camaro running at the front end of the field. Powell, Stolgimanis, Olivieri, Nakamura-Berta in the top 4. Then Salim Hanna, the leading rookie in front of Alexander Bondarev. Then it's Adam Alazzani, Renaud Franco, Sebastian Weldon, Martin Molnar. Bainer Al-Sulaiti's done a great job, I have to say. 11th position for him in front of Thiago Rodriguez. Then it is David Kozma from Fuyuhao and Cole Hewitson. August Raber, Alexander Savinkov. And then Arjun Jaheda in front of Taha Hasiba. Abdullah Ayman Kamal. Emily Cotti, Yuta Suzuki. Newman Chi, or Chi Zhen Roy if you're Chinese. And then Farah Al-Yusuf in front of Wang Wuzhe, who got to replace his front nose cone section. But sadly, it is very much game over for Seth Gilmore and Tamim Hasiba. We saw Hasiba's car being recovered. I didn't actually see Seth Gilmore's, so I know that his car is stopped out at turn 6, but there is Tamim Hasiba's car. recovery crews haven't got to him yet, so we obviously have to take a little bit more time behind the safety car. I'd say we've got another lap after this one then for the safety car to be out. Good to see everybody watching along from all four corners of the globe. We've got Colombians cheering on Salim Hanna. We've got Jamaicans watching for Alex Powell, the Jamaican sensation. Of course, he's also living in Miami in Florida, so he's got the American crowd behind him. Elisa Laloka watching from France. Good to see you on the stream once again. And the Hungarians giving a big shout out to Martin Molnar, who could get a reasonable top 10 finish here. Connor Edwards wants to know, is there not a camera in the hotel section? We've only got limited budgets in Formula Regional and F4. We don't quite have the unlimited camera budget that Formula 1 has, so you have to remember that we don't have a million cameras at our disposal. We have to put them all in as good a position as we possibly can. So there are some sacrifices and compromises that have to be made. I want to say a massive thank you to the guys at Race TV, all the way from China. They've put on a great showing, considering the limitations and the budget that they have to work with. They've done a great job. It's not easy to cover these races, and in times gone by, you wouldn't have even been allowed to see these races live as they happen. So full credit to them. I'm very happy that they're continuing to get things done in a very solid run. So Jack Monaghan seems to have all of the nicknames pretty much lined up. He's got the Jamaican sensation leading the Italian stallion. Well, no, he doesn't, because Emanuele Olivieri is back down to third position. So the flow guy must be Thomas Stolchamanis, and Little Jim's favourite. That's a Goon Show reference, which you have to be a certain age to know about. But fortunately, I grew up on the Goon Show, which is still the second best radio programme that's ever been produced. The first, of course, being I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue. That's something that me and David Addison have in common. But he always seems to think that Kia Nakamura sounds very similar to Little Jim's cry of "He's fallen in the water." So I get where he's coming from that nickname. The things you talk about under safety car. I got mocked on the stream yesterday for making a football analogy in the middle of a safety car period. Oh well, you can't win them all. And yes, Rory points out that the Flow Guy nickname is one for the teenagers. Yeah, I didn't know that one, to be fair. Oh dear. Right, Dan Howell. This is so unprofessional. I'm giggling at Dan Howell pointing out that you can't get the wood, you know. That's another Goon Show reference. Well done, all of you. You all get bonus points. Every one of you who makes the Goon Show references gets bonus points. How on earth has that happened? How have we made Goon Show references in the middle of an F4 Middle East race? Oh, I love you all. You're all my people. Well done. Safety car proceedings here in race 3, round 4 of the F4 Middle East Championship. Jake Sanson in the commentary box, Alex Powell at the lead of the race. Thomas Stolchamanis from Emanuele Olivieri, second and third. Kia Nakamura fourth. The leading rookie is Salim Hanna in front of his rival Alexander Bondarev. And the point scorers are likely to be Adam Alazari, Renaud Franco, Sebastian Weldon, Martin Molnar, Bader Al-Sulaiti and Tiago Rodriguez. So, are we going to get back under starters' orders this time by, or is it going to be another lap behind the safety car? I didn't see the clean-up operation for Seth Gilmore, and I know that Tamima Sieber's car had a little bit of work to clean up on the final corner leading up to Formula 1, but the pace of the safety car tells me that we might be about to go racing again, because it's usually pretty quick when it speeds up down that back straight, ready for the lights to go out. So I've got a feeling this is going to be lights out. Indeed it is. Safety car in at the end of this lap. So we are about to go racing once again. And so Alex Powell backs up Thomas Stolchamanis with Emanuele Olivieri and Kia Nakamura very close behind. They will come off the turn. They'll get back on the throttle. There's the safety car in pit lane. Alex Powell has actually left it very late, and now he's dropped the hammer. That's a very late restart for Alex Powell. So we go back to starters' orders, and guess what, folks? It's green once again here at Yas Marina. Charging down to the straight. Look at Olivieri already trying to attack Thomas Stolchamanis to the first turn. Olivieri round the far side. Could be a nice move on the inside for Nakamura if he gets his launch. Hanna gets a little bit too close to his teammate for comfort. And so again, Olivieri is going to be attacking Thomas Stolchamanis by the time they get to the W Hotel. He can't afford to sit there in third position because Nakamura will be attacking him sooner rather than later. So Olivieri could really do with getting in front. They squabble their way through the W Hotel section. Careful, guys. Stay out of each other's paths. They just about get away with all of that. So there is Emanuele Olivieri in the third car, the RSGP team car, trying to continue and move his way further forward, side by side, as Bondarev and Al-Azadi slide through the final turn onto the home straight of the Formula One circuit. So the Formula One pit straight sorts them out as Al-Azadi now has to go defensive to Sebastian Weldon in the Gainbridge colours. Up the crest. Here they go again. A couple of drivers dropping it through that first corner, but so far Alex Powell looking very neat and tidy. Alex Powell, Thomas Stolchamanis, Olivieri, Nakamura, Hanna, and that's Weldon still trying to put Al-Azadi under some pressure, but Sebastian Weldon having got in front of Renaud Franco, the Dutchman, who took the victory in the earlier race today. As Alex Powell tries to shake Thomas Stolchamanis from the slipstream as they battle away once again. So let's see how it continues. Weldon looks like he's going to try and make his bid here on Al-Azadi. Round on the far side, Weldon needs to go long on the brakes, but so too does Al-Azadi to thwart the manoeuvre. He protects nicely, so good work from Al-Azadi, good work from Weldon. They stay away from each other and they keep it nice and tidy. Good racing. 10 minutes to go. Powell, Stolchamanis, Olivieri, then Nakamura, Hanna and Bondarev. Here goes Al-Azadi with Weldon to his right. In each other's space. Oh, that was masterful from Al-Azadi. He left as little room as he had to for Weldon. No chance of the overtake on the inside or the outside there from Weldon. That was textbook placement from Adam Al-Azadi, parking the car in the middle of the road at the apex. He can't go left, he can't go right. And he does it again into the W Hotel. Masterclass defending, great tactics from Adam Al-Azadi once again. So Powell has half a second on Stolchamanis, and that is Newman Shi, that is Chi Zhenroy. So into the pits and out of the race. He had to start the race from the pit lane, and it looks as though the problems have continued once again. Martin Molnar trying to close up on Renaud Franco and get away from his teammate Thiago Rodriguez. But is there going to be a charge forward now from Emanuele Olivieri, the Italian, still trying to work his way up onto the tail of Thomas Stolchamanis. Didn't finish the race in race 2. Is hoping for at least some points from race number 3. Definitely Olivieri's weakest weekend so far in the championship, but that's not saying much considering that he managed to go for the race victory in race 1. He managed to cross the line in first position, of course, but then he ended up losing that victory to a jump start penalty, so dropped to 3rd position. So this weekend he's only actually scored 18 points compared to the 107,000 that he usually picks up in a weekend. Now he's going to try and pick up some more. Side by side with Thomas Stolchamanis. Stolchamanis defends again. Beautifully done from the Latvian. Olivieri is going to come and bounce back as Stolchamanis drifts wide and over the curbs. Now Olivieri's got a run on him. This is where Stolchamanis is really going to have to work. Olivieri is not going to work too hard on him, but this could be a really tight battle. They are banging wheels nearly as they get down to the braking zone. Breathe in. Stolchamanis holds it on the inside line. Olivieri still to his right. He can't afford to shut the door as Olivieri hops over the curbs. Stolchamanis is Gandalf. You shall not pass. Magnificent from Stolchamanis. So close, so narrow, the margin between them. They were basically trading rubber as they went down the main straight into the braking zone. How close that was. Stolchamanis hangs on from Olivieri just a little bit longer. Nakamura Berta will be loving this, as Olivieri will not be taking another victory. And as Ash Bryan points out, how did they not crash on the way down the straight? I've seen that battle between drivers a million times nearly at Yas Marina, and it's always ended up in an accident. So the two of them managed to get away from each other in the nick of time. Big charge forward. Here comes the challenge from David Kozma. The Romanian has a look. August Raber's just in behind him. It's the South African Cole Hewitson that he's trying to make his overtaking move on. But he hasn't quite been able to make that happen just yet. So David Kozma still needs a little bit of patience to get after the South African. Then Raber, then Savinkov. Alexander Savinkov having to get a little bit aggressive with August Raber. Gets late on the brakes, almost draws alongside him. Can he go slow in and fast out to take on Raber? Meanwhile, back at the front, Olivieri trying to get ahead of Stolchamanis. There was 1,000th of a second between them as they came across the line the last time by. but Stoljamanis held on for it, and again Stoljamanis moves to cover as Chi Zhenroy gets out of the car and walks away from it. They tried to get it restarted, it's not going to happen. Stoljamanis hangs on to second. Olivieri, once again, Stoljamanis covers the inside line. Olivieri has a chance to get level, draws alongside, Stoljamanis squeezes him. How close can you get between these two? It's almost personal. Stoljamanis and Olivieri, very close battling between the two, wheel to wheel, all the way down to the hairpin. Olivieri cannot afford to overcook these tyres. There's still 5.5 minutes and Nakamura Berta is closer to him than he has been for the entirety of the rest of the race. So this is a really tricky situation for both drivers here. Olivieri's got to go for it, but Nakamura Berta will be hungry for the move himself. There's Hanna, there's Bondarev, then Weldon in front of Al-Azadi. So Weldon's got into 7th place now. The American got the move done on the young lad from Dubai. Al-Azadi has a black and white warning flag for a track limits infringement. You've got to go for it, you've got to learn. That's what the 2025 campaign is for a lot of these drivers. It's learning, it's process. So let's see if we're going to see a little bit more of a challenge for second position. Fastest sector one of the whole race comes from Salim Hanna, the Colombian. So he's trying to get close to his teammate here, Nakamura Berta, who in turn is very close to Olivieri, who in turn needs to get ahead of Stoljamanis now. He's in real danger of slumping down the field when those tyres finally scream, I've had enough. Alex Powell has got a second on Stoljamanis. That will do. Stoljamanis has got to defend the inside line again here from Olivieri. Olivieri needs to throw caution to the winds if he's not too fast on the uptake. Nakamura Berta is right there. So off the turn again. Slipstream from Olivieri. Full credit to the Mumbai Falcons. They've done a lot of work to get back on terms with the RHGP cars. Remember the pace they had in race 1 and race 2 of the season? Round 1 and round 2, I should say, sorry. And they did a fantastic job to get back on terms with them. This battle in Qatar is going to be legendary. Don't forget, the F4 cars, as far as I'm aware, have never raced on the Losail International Circuit. I'm fairly sure that one of the only drivers that's ever raced on the Losail International Circuit in Formula Regional is probably Dorian Ba. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head who would have raced in Qatar before. I'm sure someone will correct me. Chris Raber over the back of Hao. Still trying to get the overtaking move, but he's got David Cosma behind him as well. Abdullah Ayman Kamel is not far away from company as well. Big lock-up for Salim Hanna. The tyres are starting to give up on the drivers now. Don't forget that some of them would have had fresh tyres on, some of them will have had to use old ones, as Sebastian Weldon gets well clear of this battle. Renault Franco dueling away with Thiago Rodriguez and Adam Al-Azadi, who loses another place, this time to the Macanese driver. Martin Molnar has lost the position as well, so Rodriguez has got ahead of Molnar and Al-Azadi on this lap. Great work from the Macanese driver. And I wonder if the driver advisor of this championship, Andre Couto, his countryman, has got a cheeky smile on his face watching Thiago Rodriguez flying the flag for Macau, doing such a good job here at Yas Marina. Bit of a run wide there from Al-Azadi in the background. 2.5 minutes to go. Fastest lap of the entire race came on the last lap. That was from Thomas Stoljamanis, who went 7 thousandths of a second faster than Alex Powell. That's why Olivieri's not quite close enough yet. Down in the braking zone, Al-Azadi moves to protect from Martin Molnar. Careful. Good work from everybody. 2 minutes to go in the session, plus a little bit of change as Olivieri again gets close to Stoljamanis. Olivieri now sets the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 56.469. Al-Azadi, a lot of pressure here from Martin Molnar. The duel for 9th. The final 2 points main positions just behind them are Martin Molnar and Bader Al-Sulaiti. Cole Hewitson looks like he could go for a points position as well, the South African for XL. Well clear of his teammate now, Fuyuhao, who's 2 seconds further back down the road. So there could be some shuffles of the deck in the closing stages of this race, as Thiago Rodriguez and Renault Franco have managed to move up. Franco is now 8th, Rodriguez is now 9th, Al-Azadi and Molnar are down to 10th and 11th. So there's Weldon trying to close up on Bondarev. That's the gap he's been able to build up on Renault Franco. really tight situation. More questions coming in. Dan Howell wants to know, is Sebastian Weldon any relation to Dan? He certainly is. He is the new Lionheart, the very talented son of the two-time Indy 500 winner, the late great Dan Weldon. Sebastian Weldon driving a great race, very much in the same sort of ilk as Dan Weldon. He's got that same sort of firepower in wheel-to-wheel action as well. So we've got 45 seconds. I think we're just going to cross the line before the time ticks down to 0, which means we'll get 2 more laps. Bad news for Stolgimanis and Olivieri, who are definitely going to have to battle again a little bit more intensively. But Alex Powell is not quite as far ahead as he was. They're slowly closing in. If they can team up and settle their differences on the penultimate lap, they might be able to close up on Alex Powell, and never mind second, they could go for a win. But how willing do you think these two drivers who have been battling for several laps are to deal with the situation? I wonder if Olivieri's just sitting tight and going, do you know what, Thomas, go after him. Go after Alex. If you can catch him, then maybe I could get a win after all. 2 steps back to go 3 steps forward perhaps. And of course, from Olivieri's point of view, as the time ticks down to 0 now, we've got 2 laps to go. And from Olivieri's point of view, he's ahead of Nakamura Roberta, and by a second and a half nearly. So Olivieri doesn't have to fight. Still going strong. Alex Powell being caught now by Stolgimanis. It's not over yet. Olivieri doing a fair job in 3rd place. Alex Powell just did a 1:56.8. Thomas Stolgimanis did a 1:56.4, the new fastest lap of the race. So Powell, Stolgimanis, Olivieri, Nakamura Roberta, Hanna, Bondarev, Weldon, and then this battle for 9th. Franco Rodriguez, Alizari and Martin Molnar. Here they go again. Still a really intriguing battle between them. There is the 13, that's David Cosma trying to take August Raber. Another 15th position. This is where the tyres are really screaming at you. So let's see if he can continue and charge his way further forward down the hill. And look at that, Powell is nowhere near as far away from Stolgimanis as he was. Olivieri is urging Stolgimanis on, go and get it. Maybe we can fight for the victory on the last lap if you can get through, and so can I. And Powell senses the danger. Stolgimanis is all over him now. He's not going to get the run into the chicane unless he absolutely launches in Gilles Villeneuve style. But Alex Powell realises that Stolgimanis is going to be fast down to the braking zone. Maybe Olivieri's got to go for it before then. Goes deep into the braking zone, can't get around the Latvian, and so they come off the turn and down the main straight here at Yas Marina for the last time but one. The last lap begins. Powell, Stolgimanis, Olivieri. Nakamura Roberta has not been able to sustain the tyre life, and that will concede more points to Olivieri. But how many more points to Olivieri? If the Italian can get ahead of Stolgimanis, then that will be a slam dunk heading to Qatar. Here they come again to the W Hotel for the last time. Powell is far enough ahead of Stolgimanis for my money. He just needs to be smooth on this last lap, and I don't think the Latvian will get close enough. But can Olivieri make a bid on Stolgimanis? Can he get into 2nd position? Is it worth it? Because he's only going to gain a few more points. But will it be worth the gamble? He's currently looking at 18 points compared to Nakamura Roberta on 15. If he gets ahead of Stolgimanis, he'll suddenly have 22 compared to Nakamura Roberta on 15, and that will increase the gap from 45 points to 52 points, with only 90 available, 94 technically speaking if you add the pole positions at Qatar. So how badly does Olivieri want to get into 2nd position? Just finishing ahead of Kia Nakamura Roberta could be all that Olivieri needs for the moment. But if Nakamura Roberta is behind him, then it's certainly looking tactically good for Olivieri. He has to think about Stolgimanis, but he's not close enough. Out of the hairpin, down the back straight for the last time. Alex Powell, only 0.4 of a second ahead of Stolgimanis at the line. He's got the run down that back straight, but he's trying to shake off Stolgimanis. He really wants this victory and the 30 points that go with it. This is for everybody. Back home in Miami, back home in Kingston Town. Everybody needs to get ready as Alex Powell just gets himself in the best position to finish off the run. Olivieri trying to go round the outside of Stolgimanis. It's not going to happen. It's going to be tight to the line, but the victory will go the way of the Jamaican sensation. Alex Powell makes it a victory again in front of Stolgimanis and Emanuele Olivieri. Nakamura Berta fourth. The rookie win once more goes the way of Salim Hanna in front of Alexander Bondarev and Sebastian Weldon. A great race and a great end. A pure race battle. There may not have been overtakes every 5 seconds, but you know what? That's a proper motor race with proper drivers. Fascinating stuff all the way. Now, there are some post-race investigations to be done, but there is a brilliant jubilation victory for Alex Powell, who goes side by side with his teammate Emanuele Olivieri as they tour in together. And don't forget, of course, that this is one step closer for RHGP to lift the team's title, and that's an important run for them. They really want to make that happen. They currently had, I think after race 1, they had 394 points compared to Mumbai Falcons on 356. It's going to be one of those two teams that gets it, but with a race result like that, a first and a third, that takes them one step closer to getting the job done. So Alex Powell will be a very happy man. Another great victory, another superb display, and utterly, utterly deserving. Great work. And another fantastic performance from Alex Powell. On the podium, Thomas Stolchamanis in second place. Good work from the Latvian, the defence of all defences. How did he keep Emanuele Olivieri at bay for 28 minutes plus the additional lap? I do not know how he does it, but I tell you what, somebody needs to rewrite Checo Perez's script. He's no longer the king of defence. I think it's Thomas Stolchamanis now. Excellent work from the magnificent Latvian. Third position for Emanuele Olivieri. Damage limitation, good points on the board. That keeps him in the hunt, in the lead of the championship, as he extends his lead from 45 points to 48 points over Kia Nakamura Berta. The gap is 48, and we have got 94 points left to score at Lusail International. It's looking so good for Emanuele Olivieri to win the title. But it's not done yet, and he knows it. So as the drivers come back into the pits, a good second place for Thomas Stolchamanis, already out of the car, already onto the weighbridge. I think he's missing out on the victory here. He's taken this one to heart by the look of it. But what an amazing performance. Everyone now describing Thomas Stolchamanis as the Latvian Minister of Defence. I think that's a very worthy title, I have to say. As the RHGP boys come in together, Emanuele Olivieri in third behind Thomas Stolchamanis. But the winner, Alex Powell. The Jamaican sensation has done it again here. Excellent work, immaculate drive, and a very happy chappie. For the third time, Alex Powell wins in the F4 Middle East Championship. Lights the flag. Never looked in doubt. Stolchamanis had a little look on the inside line after a tricky start, but his valiance and determination around the outside, nobody was going to take this victory away from the Jamaican sensation. Alex Powell, the victor for the third time this year. Second for Thomas Stolchamanis, third for Emanuele Olivieri in front of Kia Nakamura Berta and Salim Hanna, Alexander Bondarev, Sebastian Weldon, Renault Francote, Thiago Rodriguez and Adam Alazadi. Martin Molnar in 11th position. The final point goes the way of the rookie, Bader Al-Sulaiti. Then it is Cole Hewitson in front of Fu Yuhao, August Raber, Alexander Savinkov, Abdullah Ayman Kamel from Yuta Suzuki, Taha Hasiba. Then Emily Cotti in front of Arjun Chaheda and Wong Usher. The last finishers are Farah Al-Yusuf. And then the retirement, sadly, for David Cosma, Chijan Roy, Seth Gilmore and Tamim Hasiba. A brilliant performance as Alex Powell takes the final race victory in Yas Marina. 3 races to go at Lusail in 10 days' time. Who's going to get the victory and who's going to get the championship? Your guess is as good as mine. with our top 3 drivers, starting with the championship leader and the man in 3rd position, Emanuele Olivieri. Tough race, that one. Difficult to get into 2nd position, but finishing ahead of your main rival in the championship, that must be some satisfaction after a tough race.
Yeah, pretty good race for the championship. Yeah, it was really hard race. I knew that I was maybe the fastest because I was really close to Thomas. Never really had a move, but yeah, after 3 or 4 laps, the tires, when you are in the dirty air, start to drop, and yeah, I was trying everywhere, but it wasn't enough. But still a good podium, still good for the championship.
52 points ahead going to the next race in the championship as well in Lusail. We look forward to seeing you there. Good job.
Thank you.
Let's have a word with Thomas Stolchemanis after his run in 2nd position. Thomas, the leading Mumbai Falcon today, and they're already starting to call you the Latvian Minister of Defence. It was a pretty tough race out there.
Yeah, was very tough because I had to defend Olivieri and at the same time trying to catch Powell for 1st place. And yeah, probably the most difficult race of the season yet.
So managing to hold on in 2nd position while you were mutually in offence and defence, how do you think you're going to find things going to Lusail when everybody's on a blank sheet of paper?
Yeah, well, about this weekend we started off pretty well, I would say. We had a really good quali by setting 2nd times on both qualis, and 1st race and 2nd race was just not ours. But I'm happy to finish the weekend on a high, 2nd place, and we could actually have won the race as well because we had the pace and a couple of driving mistakes like in T9 in lap 1. But yeah, we still need to work a bit because Emanuele was on my gearbox every lap. So yeah, thanks for the team, for the job. We are on the pace, and yeah, let's see how we do in the last run.
Excellent race from you, Thomas. Well done.
Thank you.
Let's grab a word with the race victor for the 3rd time in 2025, and an excellent performance from the RSGP driver. The Jamaican sensation is back on the top spot, Alex Powell. That was a very, very tricky race out there out of the front end. Certainly in the latter stages, you almost got nailed, but what a very tricky race that was in tyre management.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it was very tricky. I felt like I had quite a good first phase of the race before the safety car. And yeah, I mean, during the safety car, I don't know what happened, but afterwards I didn't quite have the pace that I had beforehand. So it was tricky to hold on, not easy. Also minimizing mistakes. So yeah, I mean, overall it was a very demanding race, but to be honest, I'm so thankful for the team for all their hard work. We were a bit on the back foot yesterday in race 1, but to be able to bounce back like we have been, I think it's incredible. So big thanks to them.
The victories are starting to flow now. Any more perhaps next time out in Qatar?
Well, yeah, of course, that's the goal. But of course, we know we have quite a lot of work to do to get there. So yeah, we'll have about a week or so to prepare. And yeah, we're coming back stronger in Qatar.
Looking forward to seeing you and hopefully on the podium in Lusail. Good job.
Thank you very much.
Final word of the weekend then from Salim Hanna, the rookie winner after a fantastic battle all race long. Not just in the rookie race, but also in the top 5. Salim, this looks like a frustrating one to a certain degree. You were behind Kian for the whole race, but you made light work of the drivers around you in the rookie campaign. But that podium is really, really close now overall.
T1 or T9. And I lost so much time. Then after that, I was fighting a little bit with Bondarev and the Evans GP. And yeah, and then after that, safety car came, good safety car restart. Yeah, and then after, had a small lockups always in one lap. So it was, I think we could have done a lot better. But even with that, we managed to make a P5 and P1 rookie. So I think it was pretty good result. I think the team is always improving, and that's the most important thing. Yeah, I'm grateful with the team, my family, and God, of course, for everything. And yeah, I think Qatar, new track for everyone. So I think we're gonna prepare the much as we can to have a great result in Qatar.
I'm sure there's more good stuff to come from you in the final 3 races of the year, Salim. Good job.
Thank you.
Podium ceremony you've been waiting for then in the F4 Middle East Championship, the third and final race of the weekend here at Yas Marina, and we will bring out the drivers after a fantastic final race. In third position for Italy, Emanuele Olivieri. A great run for the RHGP driver and one step closer to the title with 3 races to go. In second position for Latvia, Thomas Stoltamanis. The new Latvian Minister of Defense. Excellent work for him in fantastic fashion. But your race winner for the United States of America, Alex Powell! A great run from the RHGP star, his third win of the season, and rightly so. And your Rookie Cup winner for Colombia, Salim Hanna! Yet another rookie victory for Salim Hanna in what is likely to be a run to the title as we go to Losail. Now it's my honour to invite Mr. Ong Mok Cha, once again, the Deputy General Manager of GT Tyres International. He will present the trophies to our 3 drivers on the podium in the top 3 positions and our Rookie Cup winner. Starting in third for Italy and RHGP, Emanuele Olivieri. In second for Latvia and Mumbai Falcons, Thomas Stoltamanis. And your race winner for the United States of America and RHGP, Alex Powell. And finally in the Rookie Cup for Colombia and Mumbai Falcons Racing, Salim Hanna! Once again, gentlemen, to the pit wall for the picture presentation. What a fabulous end to the weekend and a fantastic end to our time in the United Arab Emirates across these 4 events. We go to Qatar for the first time in over 10 days' time. But for now, the drivers will celebrate in style. So let's get busy with a visit! Congratulations once again then to Alex Powell and to our rookie winner Salim Hanna. The championship fight is going to be a nail-biting one as we get ourselves ready for the last races of the season. Who's going to be champion? Who's going to take the victories? You'll have to stick around here to find out. Join us in Qatar for the last round of the championship in 10 days' time. From me, Jake Sanson, and from everybody here at Top Speed at the Yas Marina circuit, the meeting place of champions. Thanks for watching. We'll see you for the finale in a week and a half. Bye for now.